Welcome to the 2024 Democratic primaries. Today we have Senator Brian Schatz from the senator from Hawaii versus Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer versus former Governor of Louisiana John Bel Edwards. February Democratic caucuses and Democratic primaries close in Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina. South Carolina's 59 delegates will go to Governor John Bel Edwards. Nevada's 43 delegates will go to Senator Brian Schatz. Iowa's 52 delegates projected now for Senator Schumer. And New Hampshire's 32 delegates projected for Chuck Schumer. Here's the current delegate map. 43 for Brian Schatz, 84 for Chuck Schumer, 59 for Governor John Bel Edwards. Chuck Schumer has an early lead on Brian Schatz and John Bel Edwards, but this is still a very early lead. Super Tuesday Democratic caucuses and primaries close in Massachusetts, Vermont, Minnesota, Virginia, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, the American Samoa, Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Colorado. Massachusetts, 116 delegates for Chuck Schumer. Vermont, 26 delegates for Chuck Schumer. Minnesota's 93 delegates for Chuck Schumer. Colorado, 78 delegates for Brian Schatz. Virginia's 109 delegates for John Bel Edwards. Tennessee, 75 delegates for John Bel Edwards. Georgia, 117 delegates for John Bel Edwards. Alabama, 60 for John Bel Edwards. Arkansas is 37 for John Bel Edwards. Texas, big prize, 251 delegates for John Bel Edwards. Oklahoma is 42 delegates for John Bel Edwards. The American Samoa, 10 delegates for John Bel Edwards. Here is the current delegate map. John Bel Edwards now takes at least 760. Brian Schatz is still in last place, 121 for him to Chuck Schumer, 319. March 2nd to 31, Democratic caucuses and primaries close in Maine, North Carolina, Florida, Illinois, Ohio, Michigan, Mississippi, Louisiana, Missouri, Nebraska, Kansas, Northern Marinas, Hawaii, Alaska, Arizona, Utah, Idaho, and Washington. In Maine, 30 delegates for Chuck Schumer. North Carolina's 121 delegates for Chuck Schumer, along with Florida's 246 delegates for Chuck Schumer. Ohio's 160 delegates for Chuck Schumer. Illinois' 182 delegates for Chuck Schumer. Michigan's 147 delegates for Brian Schatz. Missouri's 84 delegates for Brian Schatz. Kansas, 37 delegates for Brian Schatz. Nebraska's 30 delegates for Brian Schatz. Arizona's 85 delegates for Brian Schatz. Utah's 37 delegates for Brian Schatz. Idaho's 27 delegates for Brian Schatz. 118 delegates from Washington for Brian Schatz. His home state, Hawaii, Brian Schatz is a projected winner of those 35 delegates, and Alaska's 20 delegates. Louisiana, John Bel Edwards, home state, 59 delegates for John Bel Edwards, along with Mississippi's 41, the Northern Marinas 11. Here's the current delegate map, 1,058 for Chuck Schumer, 741 for Brian Schatz, 871 for John Bel Edwards. April Democratic caucuses and primaries close in Rhode Island, Connecticut, Maryland, Delaware, New York, Pennsylvania, Wyoming, and Wisconsin. New York, his home state, Chuck Schumer, 291 delegates. Connecticut, 71 delegates for Chuck Schumer. Rhode Island's 33 delegates for Chuck Schumer. John Bel Edwards, Delaware's 31 delegates for him. Maryland's 118 delegates for Brian Schatz. Pennsylvania's 210 delegates for Brian Schatz. Wisconsin's 96 delegates for Brian Schatz. Wyoming's 18 delegates for Brian Schatz. Here's the current delegate map. 1183 for Brian Schatz, 1453 for Chuck Schumer, to 902 for John Bel Edwards. The May Democratic caucuses and primaries closed in Kentucky, West Virginia, Oregon, Indiana, and Guam. Kentucky, 60 delegates for John Bel Edwards, along with West Virginia's 37 delegates, Indiana 92 delegates for Brian Schatz, Oregon 74 delegates for Brian Schatz, and Guam 12 delegates for Brian Schatz. Here's the current delegate map, 1361 for Brian Schatz, 1453 for Chuck Schumer, to 999 for John Bel Edwards. The June Democratic caucuses and primaries close in. This is all the final caucuses and the primaries. In California, New Mexico, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, New Jersey, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and the District of Columbia. The Democratic nominee will be Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer will win the Democratic nomination. Senator Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, has won the Democratic nomination. Senator Chuck Schumer will choose Senator Brian Schatz for Vice President because he did very well in the primaries. California is 548 delegates for Chuck Schumer. Montana is 27 for Chuck Schumer. North Dakota is 23. South Dakota is 25. New Mexico is 43. New Jersey is 142. D.C. is 46. And Puerto Rico is 67. And the Virgin Islands 12 delegates, all going to Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer gets 2,386 delegates out of the 2,383 delegates you need. He has only crossed it by 3. This has been a very close race in this primary. Thank you guys so much for watching. My next and last part will be Marco Rubio / Ron Johnson and versus Chuck Schumer and Brian Schatz in 2024 election. It will be uploaded June 7th, Thursday, June 7th. Stay tuned for that. Thank you and goodbye.